Hello. Today we're looking through the form I-129F. I don't like to say the names of the form, so I'm just going to call it the K-1 form. You can use this form to bring your fiance if you're engaged, or if you're married, you can actually use this form for spousal visa also. We will go through everything. As you can see, I have the form here. You can download this from the USCIS website, which I did. I downloaded it today. So I downloaded this form at June, okay? Like you can see, it says it expires at 3/31/2027. When you go to the USCIS website, you can actually download the form. Also, as you can see on the right side, it says instructions for petition for alien fiance, right? You can also do that. Download this. I would recommend download both of them. Read this one first, instruction for petition for alien fiance, right? This one. Read this one first because this explains a lot of stuff. If you're looking at this, obviously, you know, my channel is for K-1. People, basically people who are in Turkey and coming to US with a K-1 visa. That's why most of my content is in Turkish. But if your fiance or your boyfriend, girlfriend send this to you to help you, because I said that I'm gonna do this video. This is my, I guess, first English video that I'm putting out there, so I'm kind of nervous. Other than that, okay, as you can see, use this petition to classify your alien fiancé as a K-1 non-immigrant, so that he or she can enter the United States to marry you and pursue adjustment of status to lawful permanent resident, or your alien spouse, like I said, as K-3 non-immigrant. So he or she may enter the US and then, you know, do the adjustment of status and everything. Also, you can bring their children. That's a different, that's the same form. You can do that also. Well, I didn't deal with that, so I don't know that much, but that's not really the case in a lot of times. Usually there's only one person. So, also see, a K-4 non-immigrant is only eligible to adjust to lawful permanent resident status if he or she is under 18 years of age. So if the person you're marrying has kids coming from outside of the United States, so the beneficiary has kids, then you have to do a K-4 visa. So you can read all of that here. What we're going to do today is to show you basically how you would fill out this form. Why am I doing this? First of all, a lot of people go through your lawyers. If you feel like you're not confident enough to fill out documentation like this, I totally understand. You might go and seek some legal help, which is totally fine. But if you want to do it yourself, then I'm just going to be, filling it out with you as a so-called, let's say I'm going to fill it out as if I was an American, I'm filling it out like my husband did when I was in Turkey. Let's start. Here, it's this. You see, right? Who may file form I-129F? First of all, if you want to bring someone here to the United States as a fiancé with a fiancé visa, you have to be an American citizen. If they're married to you, let's say you don't have citizenship yet, you have permanent residency, then you have to marry them and file for a spousal visa. You have to marry them somewhere in their country probably, and then you have to file, okay? So we're talking about the K-1 visa today. So you're a citizen and then you're filing this as a citizen, right? Here it says you may file this petition if you're a US citizen and you and your fiancé are legally free to marry and intend to marry within 90 days of your fiancé's admission to the United States and have met each other in person within 2 years immediately before you file this petition, unless you establish that either the requirement to meet your fiancé in person would violate strict and long-established customs of your fiancé's foreign culture. The requirement to meet your fiancé in person would result in extreme hardship to you. This is very important, okay? You have to meet with them within 2 years of filing. Otherwise, they will get denied. Because what kind of a relationship is that if you didn't meet with them? Especially, okay, I'm from Turkey, right? And I'm doing this for my Turkish audience's fiancés, right? So in Turkey, there is no long established customs or whatever. I don't know which country has that. Some countries do have it. So this doesn't apply to Turkish people, basically. You have filed or filing form I-130 on behalf of your spouse and wish to have your spouse enter as a non-immigrant to await the immediate availability of an immigrant visa and file for adjustment of status. This is when you're married and then you fill the form for the marriage visa, I think. As you can see, I-130 is petition for alien relative. So we're not doing that, okay? If you have children with your beneficiary, they might have acquired US citizenship through you. Check the US Department of State. Okay, these are different things, obviously, if you have that, right? Probably you're not going to have that. If you're doing a K-1 visa, you will not be going through all of that. And then it says that we have free forms through USCIS website to view print blah, blah, you know, do that. You can get Adobe Reader from here. I'm not using Adobe. I'm using something called Zodo. You can use Adobe also. Okay, you can print this and fill it out by hand. I do not recommend it. Why? Because, do you see? You can write it here. It's very useful. I recommend filling it out on a computer. It says general instructions, right? Signature, you or your signing authority, which means what? If you're basically working with a legal representative, they can actually fill it for you. Okay, I'm just gonna go through these, okay, relative signatures and everything. You need to read this, okay? There's a filing fee. I think it's around like $600, $700 right now. Okay, like you can see, like I am on the USCIS website, right? And then here, you can download the forms here. And then let's go to the fee schedule page. And then you can actually get the fee schedule, but for everything you can see here, right? At the downloads, you can see all of the forms and how much it's gonna cost you. But for the petition for alien fiance, general filing is $675. Only the I-129F form in the beginning, okay? You will be paying this. What my husband did was he sent a check. We'll come back to that, okay? This is the filing money requirement. What is it? Filing fee, basically. Okay, filing fee, evidence. When you file your petition, you must submit all evidence and supporting documents. We'll come to that also. Biometrics appointments. They didn't ask that from my fiance, but I did do that. Biometrics appointment, I did that. So let's say, like, you know, they're gonna be asking questions and everything. Okay, copies. While we're at it, probably I will say it 10 times in this whole video. Okay, if you're submitting copies of anything, it has to be an original copy. Let's say you were married, you got a divorce, you lost all the paperwork, okay? Then for this whole thing, they will want you to submit the divorce paperwork. You went as an American, okay, you went to wherever you're gonna get the paperwork from the municipality, whatever, right? You got the paper, it's saying that, yes, this is the copy of the original. They sign it, they stamp it, right? And you have to submit the original form with your application, also not the copy of the form you got from the whatever institution you went to. Okay, let's say you got the paperwork, they gave you 1 copy or 2. Just get 2 or 3 or more, okay? Don't get ever. Never you're getting 1, okay? You're getting more than 1 copy. And then you will send the original. Do not copy it and send a copy, okay? Don't ever send the copies. I'm gonna kill myself. It just is so frustrating because so many people wait for this, okay? Because of this, so many people are waiting. And then you will get this paperwork from USCIS saying, like, we need additional documents from you. That means that you lost 4 months. 4 months you lost, okay? You don't need that. Why would you go through that? Don't do that to yourself. Get the copies, stamped and everything, copies of the original, okay? That's an original. It says copy. It is a copy of the original. So that's an original document. You will have to send the originals always. You don't send anything as a copy. You don't get something and then copy it and send the copy. Don't do that, please, okay? Because I heard it so many times. So many times, please. For the love of God, okay? Originals. We're sending originals all the time, okay? I love you guys, okay? Don't do it, please. Like here, it says, like, if you submit original documents that they were not required or requested, they will destroy them after they receive them, which is fine. You can always get more copies of them, okay? You can always get more originals, okay? Please. Translations. If you submit a document with information in foreign language, you must also submit full English translation, obviously, because no one has to know any other language, you know? They must sign a certification that English language translation is complete and accurate. Okay, did we do it? Yes. But in Turkey, a lot of the stuff right now is in, we have a system called electronic municipality, basically, like electronic government, e-devlet, e-devlet. So a lot of the documents we can get not translated, not the birth certificate. I had to get that translated when we're doing the adjustment of status, okay? You will read all of it anyway. I'm just, you know, kind of passing it really fast. How to complete form. I-129F. Type or print legibly legibly in black ink. Just use a PDF. Do not write it by hand, okay? My personal opinion, you should do that. Okay, if you need extra space to complete any item within this petition, use the space provided in Part 8. we had to use it also, or attach a separate sheet of paper. You can do that also. It is fine. You need to write, obviously, the page number, part number, and item number to which your answer refers. Okay? And then sign and date each seat like it says. Answer all questions full and accurately if a question does not apply to you. For example, like it says here, if you have never been married and the question asks, provide the name of your current spouse. Type or print non-applicable, not applicable, right? Unless otherwise directed. If your answer to question which requires a numeric response is 0 or none, for example, how many children do you have, right? How many times have you departed the United States? Type or print none unless otherwise directed. Okay, here is the specific instructions and part 1. Okay, it comes here, right? So we can start filling it out now. This part, it doesn't matter to you. It says, like it's here, for USCIS use only, right? It doesn't matter to you. So we are going to pass here. When they get your paperwork and when they process it, they will actually put here, it says fee stamp, right? There's going to be a number here. They will send this back to you. This whole thing, they will send back to you in your email, okay? So for now, we're not dealing with this part. Okay, start here. Type or print in black ink. Part 1, information about you, right? Alien registration number, USCIS online account number, US social security number, right? So if you're a citizen for a fiancé visa, you have to be a citizen, right? To be a petitioner. So you're not gonna probably have an alien registration number or this one, USCIS online account number. My husband still doesn't have one. I do have one. So you're gonna be filling this one, right? Okay, what are we doing? Fiancé or spouse. Like I said, you can do a spouse visa also. We're doing a K-1 visa today. If you're filling to classify your spouse as a K-3, have you filed form I-130? Are we doing that? No. We didn't say K-3, so we're gonna leave this alone. If we're not, then you have to go and fill this one also, okay? Your full name. This is your name. So let's say, my name is Susan. Obviously, we're gonna do it this way. Give a name. 1 second. Yeah. Last name, it says. I am Susan Smith, okay? My middle name is, I don't have a middle name, so you can leave it empty. Other names used. Okay, provide all other names you have ever used, including aliases, maiden name, and nicknames, right? So if I was married before and this is not my maiden name, you can write it here, right? Given name. If there's another name, like you change your name, anything like that, you write it here. Aliases, let's say I'm Susan, but everybody calls me Susie, something. You write it here, right? You can leave this empty or not like it says. We can do this, right? Because it never changed. Oh my God, I left it empty. I did this, I did that. It doesn't matter that much, okay? Just, it has to be accurate. Okay, your mailing address. USPS zip code lookup. Yeah, okay, so in care of name, let's say you're living with your parents, something, and it's their house or whatever. But you can also like put your name. I'm just gonna do that. Okay, street name. Let's do, I'm just gonna put Jade Street, okay? Let's say 3rd floor, city or town. Oh, come on. I don't know which one is that. That's your zip code. Okay, promise, you put this here. I don't know really. Postal code, again, your postal code country. Why is this asking this? You might be thinking, because you can actually fill this out even if you're not in the US. Okay, let's say you're a US citizen. Right now you're living in Europe and you have a fiance, you want to fill this out. You can do this. Also, let's say you might be living there for like a month and you're going to come back. You have to, this is your mailing address, right? You have to fill this out to show like where do you want to receive all of the paperwork. This address is really important because you will receive everything in this address, right? We received all of the like biometric appointments and everything, all of the paperwork to this address. It is really, really important, okay? So let's say it's United States of America. Is your current mailing address as the same as your physical address? Let's say it is. See, it says, if you answered no, provide your physical address in item numbers 9A, I-129H. Okay? So your address history, it says. We said that it is the same, right? Okay. Provide your physical address for the last 5 years, whether inside or outside of the United States. Provide your current address first if it's different from your mailing address. Is it? No, because we said yes. Let's say we didn't live anywhere else within the 5 years. We were always living here, right? I don't know which state is this. There, we were living there, right? So we're not going to touch this. But if you lived in other places, let's say you lived in 5 places in 5 years, you were moving a lot, then you have to fill this out also. And then you have to add additional information because they want to know everything, okay? Like it says here, if you need extra space to complete the section, use the space provided in Part 8, additional information. This is important, okay? Let's say Susan never moved. Susan was living here all the time, and it is my physical address, is my mailing address, so I'm not going to fill this out. You might have to, then you do. Employment history. This is still Susan's information. This is still your information. You're filling this out, okay? This is your information. So your employer's name and everything, you fill this out for up to 5 employers, I think, or 2. Okay, yeah. Again, provide your employment history for at least 5 years, whether inside or outside of the United States. You start from your current employer first, here. Employer 1 is your current one. This is your previous one, right? It goes that way. Let's say you worked at 5 different places. Again, you have to fill out at Part 8 additional information. You have to give them all of it, okay? I'm continuing. I'm not going to do that. Employment start date, employment end date. Again, this continues for this one. Employer 2. Other information. Sex, male, female. Date of birth. Fill this out. Let's say, obviously, month, day, year. Okay. Marital status. You can be single, divorced, or widowed. You cannot be married for a K-1 visa. Okay. Let's say I'm single. If you say you're divorced, you can obviously apparently click all of them. Be careful about that, okay? Let's say I'm single. Okay? Where were you born? I don't know. Alkama. I never moved apparently. Province or state of birth. Country of birth. Obviously, you don't have to be born in the United States, right? You can just do USA also, by the way. Information about your parents. Okay, parent 1's information. That could be your dad, that could be your mom. You put all of the information here. Date of birth, sex, country of birth, where are they living, country of residence, village of residence, all of it, okay? Parent 2's information. Again, this is important. Okay, these are basic information. You will be filling it out in 10 minutes. Okay, have you ever been previously married? If you were, you're going to obviously say yes. If you say yes, see, continues. It explains itself actually. It's not a very difficult document. It explains itself. Provide the names of each spouse and the date that each prior marriage ended in item number 38A39, okay? Which is here, as you can see. If you need extra space to complete this section, use the space provided in Part 8. Again, you might be married to 4 people. I don't know. You know, you have to fill out all of it. Date of marriage ended. Everything. So if you say yes, look, I cannot even click to it. I said yes. It should be clickable. You might have to fill this out by hand, or maybe like, you can do this. Let's say their name was Brown. This is acceptable, by the way. See? You can even move it a little bit. Brown. You can do that. Let's say I was not married because I don't have time for that, okay? You will fill all of this out. And then if you were married and then that marriage ended, I don't know how, but you have to submit paperwork. Like I said, original. It could be the copy of the original, but it has to be a stamped copy. Basically, it's like the original, right? It is the original. You have to submit that. Continuing. Your citizenship information. You are a U.S. citizen through how? Birth, naturalization, U.S. citizen parents. Let's say I was born here. Have you obtained a certificate of naturalization or a certificate of citizenship in your own name? So if it's naturalization, you have to, obviously pick that, whatever is true for you. So I do know because I was born here, apparently, so I didn't need that. See if you answered yes to item number 41, which we didn't. Complete item numbers 42A and C, which continues here. Certificate number, place of issuance, date of issuance, okay? Just fill these out. Like I said, if Adobe doesn't allow you to add stuff, texts and stuff, you can download Zodo, which is also free, by the way, and you right-click. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's say do this. See, it works. You right-click and then you add a text box, and then you write it right there. Okay. So, continuing. Additional information. Have you ever filed Form I-129 for any other beneficiary? If you did, you say yes. If you did not, say no. If you answered yes, again, item number 43. Provide the responses to item number 44 to 46 for each previous beneficiary. So you have to file all of this. Let's say it didn't work out. They went back home. They came, you got married, you got a divorce. Whatever the case might be, okay? You're just going to fill this out. It's okay, it's fine. We can do this. I believe in you, okay? I know it looks like a lot. It is not. Oh, look, date of filing. What action USCIS take Form 129F? For example, approved, denied, revoked. So they want to know what happened. Do you have any children under 18 years of age? Okay, this is different. Like it says, up to 46. This, and then this is the continuation of that question. And this goes to this one. Do you have any children under 18 years of age? If you answered yes to item number 48, provide the ages for your children under 18 years of age. So you will provide the ages. I don't have kids, let's say. You do that. Provide all U.S. states and foreign countries in which you have resided since your 18th birthday. As you can see, U.S. states and foreign countries. Let's say I also resided in California. Country, no country. So what were you gonna do? Non-applicable. I always lived in the US, okay? Residence too. I'm just gonna leave it alone. Okay, this is about your beneficiary, this part. Okay, but when my fiance was doing, my now husband was doing this part, he reached out to me and he wanted all that information from me. So you're gonna reach out to your beneficiary, okay? This is the fun part. Then you will get their information, okay? Their family name, last name, their giving name. Let's say their family name is Yilmaz. Let's say they're Turkish, okay? And their giving name is Ahmet. This is like the most common Turkish name. Middle name, they don't have a middle name. I did this one. It doesn't matter if it's like caps or not. It's fine. Do they have an alien number? Probably not. Do they have a U.S. Social Security number? Probably not. If they do, add this year. Date of birth. Let's add this year. Okay. What you need to be careful about with the date of birth stuff. In Turkey, the date of birth or any dates, okay, our date system is different. It goes day, month, and year. So when you ask them, they might tell you, I don't know, 1/1/1987 or 1/2 something, okay? You have to kind of switch it. You have to make sure, ask them which month and the day, okay? Ask them like that and then fill out this information because they might be giving you the right information, but you might write it here and then it might be wrong and you don't want that. You don't want USCIS to ask you questions. We don't want any questions because the moment they ask questions, you have to wait 4 more months. Nobody needs that, okay? We're gonna put the month, I don't know, like, see if it's like this, 0203, right? It's gonna be complicated. Is it February, March? You have to make sure, okay? Just remember this, make sure. Okay. My beneficiary is Ahmet Yilmaz, so he's a male. Marital status, okay, they have to be single, right? Or divorced or widowed. Again, if they're divorced or widowed, they also have to give you documents, so you will be submitting it with the with this document, if I remember correctly. City, town, or village of birth. So this have to be, you don't just ask them, okay? Because, for example, I was born in a city, right? So, but that's what I know. But in my official documents, it says like a village name. There's like a village name. Turkish systems are weird, okay? Just ask them what does it say in their official documents. Birth certificate documents. So you have to put this one over here because USCIS will look at the documents. They will cross-check them, right? So we don't want any difference between the documents. So ask them this and then put this here. Country of birth, let's say is Turkey. Turkey, but right now, actually, we're gonna do Türkiye because that's what we do. Country of citizenship or nationality. They might have something else, but right now, usually, there's only one. So let's say, again, Türkiye. Other names used. Again, maybe they were married, they changed their surnames, whatever. If not, just leave it blank, like this. Let's say there were no names, no middle names, nothing. Okay, again, it continues. Information about your beneficiary, continue, right? Mailing address for your beneficiary, it has to be their address. You're going to put their address here. Turkish addresses are very, very long, unfortunately. Okay, don't freak out about that. They might be sometimes very long, and we had problems also. It didn't fit here that much. So you can actually, in care of name, like you can just kind of divide it here, I guess, Zip codes doesn't really work in Turkey that much, so we don't have states. What were you gonna do with the states? You're just gonna leave it empty. There are no states in Turkey, okay? Province, again, like that probably is gonna be the city name. Postal code and zip code is the same thing in Turkey. Country, we're gonna be Turkey. I'm not gonna write it there, okay. Your beneficiary's address history. This is also important, okay? Just ask them where they were living, and then you're gonna put this here. So, okay, look, I cannot change this one here, right? It says present, and I cannot change it. So this is their address. When we were filing it as Susan, it asked us, right, is it the same mailing address and your physical address? Is it the same? It asked us. But for the beneficiary, it asks it in 2 different places. So you have to actually fill this out again. It might be the same thing. It might be different. Probably it's the same. And then you're going to be continuing here. If there is more than 2, again, it says what? Part 8, additional information. For everything, you're going to go there, okay? We filled it out, and then it comes to your beneficiary's employment history. So here, you're going to do the employer and everything about them, start date, end date. This is important information. So you're going to be doing it for, it gives you 2 slots for that. If there is more, obviously, again, you need to go to the additional information and fill it out. Second, employer information about beneficiary's parents. Again, yeah, you need to ask them. Be careful with the date of birth. Ask them specifically which month it is, and then fill it out like that. So let's say this is the dad's name. Let's say Yilmaz again. Given name Mehmet, let's say. No middle name. You're going to fill this out. Everything. Country of birth. Fill this out. Parent 2. Female, right? And then you're going to be, again, fill these out and everything. Other information about your beneficiary. Has your beneficiary ever been previously married? Let's say, yes, Ahmed was married before. They asked it previously, right? If I remember correctly. So it was asking like if they're single or not, right? We said single. Let's say widowed, okay? Or divorced. They were divorced, let's say, okay. We said yes. If you have answered yes to item number 34, which is this one, provide the names of each prior spouse and date each prior marriage ended in item number 35 and 36. If you need provide information for more than one spouse, use the space provided in part 8 again. Name of previous spouse. So you fill these out, marriage ended, and then that's it basically. You're just gonna give them this information and that's it. And then you will be, again, like I said, they will be sending you the document and then you will be submitting it with this application, okay? USCIS want to know everything. They want to make sure like I'm single and beneficiary is single. Right now we can legally get married. They don't care about your past that much. They want to know you're single, okay? Has your beneficiary ever been in the United States? Let's say yes. They were here, but they're not here anymore. If your beneficiary is currently in the United States, complete item numbers, these and these. Okay, if they're here with like one of these visas and everything, it might be a problem. Let's say they came here and then they were here on a tourist visa and then now you're filing this application. That might be a problem, but I'm not talking about that. That's like you can do some research about that. But if that's the case, don't do it. I would say wait until they leave the country and then file for this. If they're here on a different visa for like a short time, they came here on a tourist visa and then you might got married or whatever, life happens. I'm okay with that. That's fine. But if you apply, especially thinking about the current circumstances also, USCIS might think like this is a fake marriage. We don't want that, obviously. If that's the case, obviously you're going to fill this out. He or she had last entered as what? You need to tell this here. I-94, you can get this document online. Just do some little research and then you can get this. Arrival, departure, record number, obviously. And date of arrival. Again, it continues. Date authorized, stay expired or will expire as shown as in the form. So you would put this here, obviously, if it's expired or not. If it expired, just don't fill this out at all. Let them go back, then fill this out, okay? Passport number, travel document number, country of issuance for passport or travel document. You just ask them that. They can send you a picture or copy of their passport. Basically, you can fill that information from their passport. Expiration date for passport. This is important. If their passport is going to expire within like 6 months, they should go and get a new passport and then you should apply with that information. That takes like 2 days in Turkey. So, does your beneficiary have any children? Let's say he doesn't. But if he does, you have to fill out this information about each child, it says, right? You have to fill this out this is one child information. So, children of beneficiary, you fill this out here, country of birth and everything. Does this child reside with your beneficiary? If they do, yes. So this is unfillable. Like you can see, like these I can click, these I cannot click. So you have to like right click and fill it out basically, right? Street number, everything, you just fill this out. If they don't reside with your beneficiary. So if you said no, they have a child but they don't live with them, then you would do no here and then you'll fill this out. Okay? Address in the United States where your beneficiary intends to live. So this will be probably your address, right? What we did was we put my husband's parents' address at the time because we were planning to buy a house, but the house will be ready after I came here, so we didn't really know, and we almost didn't get the house. We put that, and then that was the mailing address also, so that was fine. Your beneficiary's physical address abroad. It asked us that, right? Somewhere around here, mailing address, address history, present. It is asking it again. We're not freaking out about that. They're going to ask the same stuff sometimes, okay? That's fine. So we're going to put the same one here. Whatever we put at the present, it says the present right here. Part 12, beneficiary's address history, this one, okay? Putting it here also. Country, daytime, telephone number. They never called me, by the way, okay? They never call you, they email you all the time. Your beneficiary's name and address in his or her native alphabet. Yes, this might be a bit difficult. What I would do is, if you're filling this out, and let's say family name, they have this different stuff, right? Okay, my computer, I have a Turkish alphabet, so I can turn this on. If you can't, you can ask your fiance to send you an email. It's a little tip. And then you log into your email, right? And then ask these questions and then make them answer it and then just copy and paste it right here. So you don't have to deal with that. You can print this out and write it by hand also, but why would you do that? In my opinion, I think this is faster, right? If this doesn't work, obviously you can do that. You can print it out and fill it out by hand. Information about your beneficiary. Continued. This is a very long document. Is your fiance related to you? We're going to say no, we're not married, right? Non-applicable beneficiary is my spouse. Okay, if you're married, like I said, you can fill this document for spousal visa. Then you would pick this one, the third one. But we're doing this. Provide the nature and degree of relationship. Third cousin, maternal uncle. Okay, why is this saying that? Because not the maternal uncle, but technically you can marry your cousins in some countries, which also in Turkey you can. Maybe because of that, I don't really know. So we're going to do non-applicable. Have you and your fiancé met in person during the 2 years immediately before filing this petition? Okay, you have to meet. You have to. Okay. Did you? Yes, we did. If you say no, you have to explain it, obviously. They will probably be like, why? Why did you not meet with them? What was the reason? And they might want to decline. So, you should be meeting at least once. If you answered yes to item number 53, we did. Describe the circumstances of in your in-person meeting. Here, okay? Attach evidence to demonstrate that you were in each other's physical presence during the required 2-year period. So, about this, okay? let's do this paragraph first. So you will be writing this here and then attaching, like, what we did was my fiance came, my husband came 3 times to meet with me. Technically 2 times, because the 3rd time was after I was issued the visa and everything. So before that, he came twice. One in Istanbul, and the 2nd time he came to meet with my parents, right? So what we put as evidence is pictures, obviously, but you can do pictures, you can AI them or whatever, right? Nowadays. We did pictures, and also we provided the plane tickets. It could be bus tickets, whatever you did. Tickets, basically, physical documents, because when you get a ticket, you get the ticket stub and everything, right? Or you can print it out. So Turkish Airlines, you flew with Turkish Airlines, let's say, to Istanbul. You can print that information and add it, attach it to this application. It is very important to make sure, like, yes, we were in each other's physical presence, right? So you need to submit that. If you answered no, 2nd paragraph, explain your reasons for requesting an exemption from the in-person meeting requirement. I don't know what could that be. I have no idea, but let's say it was the COVID times. It was something going on. You were sick. You couldn't do anything. Something, right? Doctors told you that you cannot do it. Whatever the reason might be, okay? You have to explain it. If you need extra stuff, again, additional information. Refer to part 2, item number 53, 54, which is here, 53, 54. Of the specific instructions, selection of the instructions for additional information about the requirement to meet. So let's see here, because see, this is our guide on the right side. So this is what? 53, right? Part 2, item number 50. Okay. This one. Indicate whether you and your fiancé have seen each other in person during the 2-year period immediately before to filing your petition. Select NA if the beneficiary is your spouse. So if you're married, it doesn't matter. Apparently, I didn't know that. If you respond yes, to describe the circumstances of your in-person meeting, attach evidence to demonstrate that you were in each other's physical presence during the required 2-year period. They also, in the visa appointment at the embassy, they will ask your fiancé where you met within that 2-year period. Where was it? Explain it. Show me the pictures. Show me the everything, you know? They're going to ask it again. If you need extra space to complete this section, use the space provided in part 8, obviously. If you respond no, explain in detail any reasons you might have for requesting an exemption from the requirement. Like I said, it might be like a doctor's note, something, whatever that might be. You have to explain it. It might be like it says here, right? It might be a foreign culture of your fiancé or social practice. They might not let you see them or be in the physical, presence of each other. I don't know. But for Turkey, this doesn't apply to Turkey, so I don't know about that. We would be like, yes, we met in person, and then you would write here, like, we met in, I don't know, Ankara, and then we met here in X city at this date, and then we spent this many days together. I met with their mom, their dad, whatever, their friends. You have to write all of it down, right? You have to basically, it's like an interview. You're trying to convince them, like, yes, please let my beneficiary in here. I do love them so much. Basically, you're trying to convince USCIS, like, this is a real relationship and I will marry this person. Please let them in, right? International marriage broker information. Did you meet your beneficiary through the services of a marriage broker? Did we? No. If you did yes, you have to give all of their information. This is kind of like a tricky thing. Like, in my opinion, it's a bit icky because this is kind of open to exploitation of this visa procedure, in my opinion. So they might not be looking at it very positively. My personal opinion, okay? Again, here, like it explains, right? You have to give their name, organization name, website, mailing address, and everything. And then you have to read about what are the requirements of the International Marriage Broker Act, Regulation Act, right? I don't know about this. I don't want to go into this. I didn't do any research on it. Also, you have to provide a copy of the signed written consent from the IMB obtained from your beneficiary that authorizes the release of the beneficiary's personal contact information to you. So it's a lot, basically. I don't know how many people are using this. I don't think that many people are using it. Anyway, this is the continuation of their, information, basically. Consular processing information. Okay, your beneficiary will apply for a visa abroad at U.S. Embassy or U.S. Consulate at. They have to, okay? So you will file, it goes like this, right? You file, It goes through USCIS system. It goes to National Visa Center after you're approved. National Visa Center. And then they will send it to an embassy. So embassy will get the paperwork. They will process it. And they're going to be like, okay, your fiance now can get a visa appointment from us. So that's the required documents basically you're submitting, right? For Turkey, this is Ankara Embassy. Again, I had so many questions about that. In Turkey, there are embassy and consulates, right? So we have American Embassy. There is one in Ankara. There is one in Istanbul. There's an office in Izmir. And there's an Adana section, consulate. Only Ankara does this. Only Ankara does K-1 visas. Istanbul does not do K-1 visas. Even if you put Istanbul here, it's gonna go to Ankara, okay? Don't put Istanbul. Put Ankara, okay? Why is it asking me then, you might ask? Because in the different countries, it might be like 2 consulates they're dealing with this, and you might pick and choose, right? That's why it's here, okay? Also, by the way, you can put Turkey or Turkey. It doesn't matter. It's going to go to the same place anyway. They're not dumb. They know. Part 3, other information. Criminal information. Okay. So these are important, okay? These criminal information questions must be answered even if your records were sealed, cleared, or if anyone, including a judge, law enforcement officer, or attorney told you that you no longer have a record. Okay, this is very important. You have to file it like it says here. If you need extra space to complete the section, again, use this one. Have you ever been subject to temporary or permanent protection or restraining order? I'm gonna say no. Susan is very vanilla, okay? She never did anything in her life. Have you ever been arrested or convicted any of the following crimes? Any of it. Domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, child neglect, dating violence, elder abuse, stalking, or an attempt to commit any of these crimes. You might be arrested and not convicted. You have to say yes if that's the case, okay? Again, it says that go to the instructions, the full definition, to see the full definition of the term domestic violence, right? It's right here. It's gonna be in the part 3, criminal other information, right? We go here, and then this is the first one. Specified crimes, convictions of domestic violence. It explains all of it here. You need to read all of this and then answer, okay? Probably it's gonna be no anyway. Homicide, murder. These are very heavy, obviously. All of this. No. 3 or more arrests or convictions not from a single act for crimes relating to a controlled substance or alcohol. No. You might be feeling like, okay, let's say you have this. You had convictions. Whatever. You did time inside, in jail. I don't know. You might feel like, I don't want to tell them. Everything is sealed anyway. I did the time. It doesn't matter. They're not going to be like, oh my God, you did 3 or more arrests. You cannot marry someone else. They're not going to do that. Okay? They just want to know. You cannot lie to them. They have access to everything. If you ever arrested or convicted any of the specified crimes, you must submit certified copies of all court and police records. That's the very annoying part. You have to submit all of it. Certified copies, like I said. You might see this and then you might feel like, oh, I have certified copies of those documents. Let me make a copy of the certified copy and submit it. No, that's not a certified copy anymore. That's just a copy. Certified copies. Certified. You must do so even if your records are sealed, expunged, or otherwise cleared, and regardless of whether anyone, including a judge, law enforcement officer, or attorney informed you that you no longer have a criminal record. You have to still submit it, okay? If you need extra space, again, it says go to part 8, additional information. If you have provided information about a conviction for a crime listed in item number 2, A, B, and C, basically, all of this here, and you were being battered or subjected to extreme cruelty at the time of your conviction, select all the following that apply to you. I was acting in self-defense. I violated a protection order issued for my own protection. So you might be having like abusive relationship and you might get a protection order, right? And then that person calls you and then you're like, oh my God, let me talk you one last time. Because everyone does stupid things, okay? Then you will be selected this. I committed, was arrested for, was convicted of, or pled guilty to a crime that did not result in serious bodily injury, and there was connection between the crime and me having been battered or subjected to extreme cruelty. These are very specific things, okay, that might happen to you. Then you will be selecting yes, and then explaining it, obviously. So if that didn't happen to you, obviously you're not gonna click any of it. So I'm not gonna do any of that. Have you been arrested, cited, charged, indicted, convicted, fined, or imprisoned for breaking or violating any law or ordinance in any country? Not just the US, okay? Excluding traffic violations. Unless a traffic violation was alcohol or drug related or involved a fine of $500 or more. I'm gonna say no. If the answer is yes, provide information about each of those arrests, citations, charges, indictments, convictions, everything basically, okay? So if you need extra space, again, go there because it's only like 2 lines here. And again, I cannot click, so you have to right click. It doesn't work all the time. Like I showed you, right click and add a text bubble there and then explain it, or just use this one. Multiple filer waiver request information. Okay, refer to part 3, types of waivers and the specific instruction. Let's go there and look here. Multiple filer waiver request. You must request a waiver of the International Marriage Broker Regulation Act filing limitations if you are filing this petition on behalf of your fiancé and you previously filed Form I-129Fs on behalf of 2 or more fiancé beneficiaries, or you are filing this petition on behalf of your fiancé, you have previously had Form I-129 approved and less than 2 years have passed since the filing date of previously approved petition. So you got this before, basically. If you did this before, then this is it. Then you, like, I'm gonna be doing this for as Susan because I didn't do it, you know. If you did it before, if you filed this one before, basically, it's asking you, did you file it before? Then you will be going and selecting whatever is fitting you. Let's look at them. Multiple filer, no permanent restraining orders or convictions for special offense. General waiver. So you did this, but there's no restraining orders, nothing basically. Multiple filer, prior permanent restraining orders or criminal conviction for special offense. Again, multiple filer, prior permanent restraining order or criminal convictions for specified offense resulting from domestic violence. Okay, these are important. Obviously, they don't wanna that you bring anyone if you have like a domestic violence charges or whatever against you. Bring someone from overseas and do to them also domestic violence to them also, right? In my opinion, obviously, I'm not a lawyer, okay? I'm not a lawyer, but that gives me that vibe. So if that is the case with you, you have to, in my opinion, go and talk with a lawyer, get help from them. Because, like I said, Susan is very vanilla, okay? She never did anything wrong in her life. She's just living life. So for me, it's a no. For my husband, it was a no. So, yeah. But if you had like a criminal past or something happened to you, like, you know, you were maybe acting in self-defense, like I said here, you know, then you might want to talk with a lawyer. But I think it's not the case for most Americans, most people in the world. So I'm just going to pass that. You can also like read here, like see type of waivers. It explains all of it in detail. All of them. So we are at the biographic information for us. Ethnicity. Select only one box. Hispanic or Latino. Not Hispanic or Latino. I'm not Hispanic or Latino. I'm gonna do that. Select all applicable boxes. So you might be white, Asian, all of it, basically. What am I? I'm probably white. Height, feet, inches. Let's say 5 feet, 4 inches. Weight. I'm just gonna, I don't know how much that is in kilos. I don't understand pounds still. Eye color. Okay, you're gonna be brown. You are filing this for you. Okay, as the American petitioner. Okay, hair color, let's say black. Petitioner's contact information, certification, and signatures. Who's petitioner? Me, American, filing this. Okay, daytime telephone number, mobile telephone number, email address. Email address is very, very important. Okay, don't give an email address that you don't check ever. Give them something that you will have access to. Don't give them any work emails. You might feel like, oh my God, my work email address is perfect because I have access to it. I check it all the time and I will see it. No. What if you get fired? You find a better job and you leave that work. Then you will not have access to your email, right? You will have all of the information through the email. Don't do it to yourself. Petitioner's certification and signature. Okay? Basically, like, I understand. I filled everything correctly. I didn't lie. Blah, blah. Read it. Then you sign it here. You might want to sign it, on a PDF, or you might print it out and sign it by hand, because you will be sending it physically anyway. This document, you will print it out and send it physically to their postal post box. Date of signature, so you would put the date here. So like, let's do this. That's today's date. Okay. If you use an interpreter, let's go here also. If you use anyone as an interpreter to read the instructions and questions on this petition to you in a language in which you are fluent, let's say you are fluent in Spanish and you needed, interpretation, and then you use it because this is the document, they only have it in English, right? Then you have to put their, all of their information here. This doesn't have to, I think, one second. If the same individual acts as your interpreter and your preparer, as that person should complete both parts 6 and 7. If the person who completed this petition is associated with a business or organization, that person should complete the business, organization, and name and address information. They must sign and date the petition also. A stamped or typewritten name in a place of signature is not acceptable. Okay? They have to sign it by hand. If the person who helped you prepare your petition is an attorney or accredited representative, he or she may also need to submit a complete Form G28. Okay, if you use a service like that, attorney or like a representative, and they have to fill this form. Notice of entry of appearance as attorney, accredited representative, or Form G28I, notice of entry of appearance as attorney in matters outside of geographical confines of the United States. Oh my God, such a long sentence, along with your petition. Anyway, if you're getting help, obviously they're going to know that anyway. This tells you everything. Interpreter's contact information. We're not using an interpreter, right? So their certification and signature. Again, contact information, declaration, and signature of the person preparing this petition, if other than the petitioner. So I filled this out, right? I don't have to fill this part, okay? You don't have to. Contact information, declaration, signature of the person preparing this petition, if other than the petitioner. Again, we're not going to do anything here, okay? So this is the additional information section. If you needed any additional information, you will use this one. Type or print your name, anything, you put these here, and then page number, part number, item number, and extra items here. You can use this for, let's say, like you worked in, like I said, 5 different places, and it gives you 2 places for your employer information, right? So you would use this one. If you need more space than what is provided, which you may make copies of this page to complete and file this petition or attach a separate sheet of paper. I would recommend to make copies of this page, page 12, right? And then do it that way. You can write it by hand and stuff, This is basically it. You finished it. If you have any questions, about this part, like I didn't understand what I'm supposed to do, this is complicated. First of all, okay, believe in yourself. It's not complicated. We can do it. I believe in you, okay? It just looks complicated because there's a lot of, like very serious stuff. Look, like my social security number, I need to put another 5 here. See? Perfect. So it just looks complicated, but you can do it. You don't have to. Okay, a lot of people go and get help from legal representatives, attorneys, and everything, which is totally fine. If you feel uncomfortable, you can do it. But like I said, like this whole process is around $3,000 now. I'm not just talking about this particular document, right? You need to submit a lot of stuff. Your fiance will also be doing stuff in whatever the country they're residing at. Let's say Turkey, right? They're going to be doing a lot of stuff in Turkey. After they come, you will be applying for a green card. That's gonna be expensive. And we didn't do the travel request that, like, you can travel, they give you something, right, to travel. We didn't do that. That's like $600 something. Sorry, I got too excited and sidetracked a little bit, but what I wanted to say basically is it gets very expensive anyways. If you can do it yourself, in my opinion, you should do it yourself. That's why I wanted to make this video. Thank you for watching, guys, and please subscribe to my channel. Bye.